I wonder if you can relate to any of these following scenarios. The manager who watches a team member struggle through a presentation and says nothing because they don't want to seem judgmental. The friend who quietly decides someone in their circle is selfish, then slowly stops returning calls. The athlete who misses 3 sessions, looks in the mirror, and delivers a verdict. I'm undisciplined. I don't have what it takes. We've been told that judgment is the problem. But what if the problem is that we've confused 2 very different things? Hey there, it's me, Core, and you're listening to Exercising Self-Control from Fitness to Flourishing. The word judgmental didn't always carry the weight it does today. Linguists track its negative shift to the 1950s, a cultural moment when psychological thinking began entering mainstream conversation and the idea of non-judgmentalism became a marker of emotional maturity. Layer on top of that a simplified reading from the Christian Bible, Matthew 7:1, "Judge not, lest ye be judged," and you have a social taboo that's been running on autopilot ever since. The result? A blanket ban on judgment that sounds enlightened but leaves us without one of our most essential tools. To be clear, the ban exists for good reason. Judgment has been weaponized. It's been used as a tool for arrogance, stereotyping, and condemnation. When a parent sizes up another parent's choices and writes them off as irresponsible without knowing their circumstances, that's real harm. When a coach labels an athlete lazy after one bad session, that label sticks, and it can shut down growth before it has a chance to start. The problem isn't judgment itself. The problem is judgmentalism. Here's the line that clarifies what we need to keep in mind when it comes to judgment. Judgmentalism is reactive. It's a power move, a way for the ego to establish superiority by delivering a verdict on someone else. It carries an emotional charge: frustration, contempt, irritation. And like a legal sentence, it ends in finality. He is this. They are that. Case closed. Think about the colleague who watches someone stumble through a difficult conversation and internally concludes, they're not leadership material. They'll never be able to handle the pressure. That's not assessment. That's a story the ego tells to feel elevated. Discernment is something else entirely. It's personal, conscious, and neutral. It observes without condemning. It asks, what is actually happening here, and what does that mean for me? The same colleague operating from discernment watches that stumble and thinks, they seem uncomfortable with conflict. If that's true, is there a way I can support them? Or do I need to adjust how much I rely on them in high-stakes situations? The observation serves the relationship. It doesn't diminish the other person. The difference isn't just philosophical, it's physiological. Judgmentalism triggers a stress response. Discernment creates a pause. One narrows your thinking. The other opens it. When you swap judgmentalism for discernment, 3 things shift immediately. You get evaluative precision. That pause between observation and reaction is where good relationships live. When you discern rather than judge, you stop reacting to what you think you see and start responding to what's actually there. You're not mind reading or jumping to conclusions. You're seeing a circumstance and determining what's actually happening through inquiry. You get healthier boundaries built on compassion. Discernment lets you recognize that someone's behavior, for example, a friend who only calls when they need something, a training partner who cancels constantly, comes from their own conditioning and history, not a character flaw you need to condemn. You can hold a boundary, this isn't working for me, without delivering a verdict. They are a bad person. That's being consistent with your own standards without requiring everyone else to do the same. You get a growth mindset that actually functions. Labels are dead ends. When you miss a workout and tell yourself, I'm undisciplined, you've closed the inquiry. When you snap at someone you love and tell yourself, I'm a bad person, same result. The inquiry closes. But discernment keeps the question open. What actually happened? What was I carrying into that moment? What does this tell me about how I need to adapt? That's the difference between a loop and a learning curve. Judgment didn't earn its bad reputation by accident, but the solution was never to abandon the capacity altogether. It was to refine it. Discernment is judgment matured. It's the tool a skilled coach uses when they correct form without crushing confidence. It's what you use when you assess your own training honestly without spiraling into self-criticism. In the next episode, we'll go into the concrete tools for practicing discernment daily, both when assessing yourself and when relating with others. For now, try this. The next time you catch yourself delivering a verdict on your performance, your body, or someone else's effort, take a breath and pause. Ask whether you're closing a case or opening a question. That pause is where judgment can clarify by becoming discernment. And it's that rational grasp of the circumstances that allows for a wiser choice to be made. So go ahead and judge. It's a valuable and necessary skill. Just make sure you stop yourself before you go too far and become judgmental. That's it for today. Catch you next time.